'Twas the upload before Christmas, when all through the feed, not a leaker was stirring, not even a tweet. The Batman was handled by Matthew with care, and we'd hoped a trailer would soon be there. The fans were nestled as snug as can be, while Nexus Point News typed up a spree. ScarJo in talks for the Batman Part 2, and in need of some content, I knew just what to do. There's nothing I want more this festive season than to talk about the Batman Part 2. So please drop a comment down below, tell me how you feel about what I'm gonna say, what we've heard about the movie so far, and any ideas you have going into the movie. In this video, I'm gonna talk about a couple of things I want to see and think we're going to see in the Batman Part 2, given all the latest news and rumors we've heard. First on the list, given the subtle theming of the video, is that I want the Batman Part 2 to be a Christmas movie. Hold on to your pitchforks. I know that sounds insane, but with this movie following up on the ending of The Penguin and placing us squarely at Christmas time, I love it. Batman at Christmas is always fun to see, from Batman Arkham Origins to Batman the Animated Series, Christmas with the Joker being one of my favourite episodes of the whole show. The Batman Part 1, despite not showing us a lot of Bruce Wayne, it told us a lot about him and who he is. The events of Part 1 and what he learns in that film shift his worldview completely. He discovers the sins of his father, or rather Riddler discovers them and airs his dirty laundry. But that drives a wedge between Bruce and Alfred. This Bruce also just feels very alone. He's very much a loner in this universe, a recluse. All of this, in my opinion, lays great foundation for this to be a Christmas film. Let me expand on that quickly. So according to Colin Farrell, who, if you don't know, plays the Penguin, he said that the Batman Part 2 is going to be quite an emotional film, having to spend Christmas, the time of family, when that's such a sensitive subject for this Batman, away from the only family he really has, him being alone on the streets in his eyeliner and pointy ears, wanting to make sure that no other kid has to spend Christmas like he has done growing up, wanting to make sure that no other child in Gotham has to spend Christmas like he did. And that leads perfectly onto my next want, or theory, I guess, or whatever we're calling this video, and that's Robin. In particular, Dick Grayson. I know I said before I'd love a Cassandra Cain. I think that's more of a DCU thing, and as much as I want it, that's getting less and less likely by the day. The first movie was already so heavily inspired and long Halloween coded, basically just swapping the supervillains for The Sopranos. A detective story all about the mob and this new and elusive serial killer that's on the loose in the Riddler. This movie is going to be our Dark Victory, the infamous sequel comic to The Long Halloween, and is a retelling of Robin's origin, once again with the main threat being a serial killer. This time the serial killer is called the Hangman. The book also has a strong emphasis on Gotham's mob world and the Falcone crime family being led by Sophia Falcone. Some of those beats will sound fairly familiar to any keen-eyed Penguin viewers, and we'll be looping back to that in just a moment. But first I gotta answer the burning question. What does any of this have to do with Robin, particularly Dick Grayson, and the tragedy that falls on him lead to Bruce needing to help? This is Bruce's chance for redemption in his eyes. He sees that 8-year-old boy from the alley all those years ago in someone else, so he has to take him in. He has to help him, be there for him, like he wished someone was all those years ago. Not to discredit Alfred. Alfred is the goat of all goats. So in those moments, after the fall of the Flying Graysons, Bruce, not Batman, Robin, particularly Dick Grayson, and the tragedy that falls on him lead to Bruce needing to help, not to hurt or seek vengeance, like he learns at the end of Part 1. To save and to help Gotham, he has to be hopeful, to inspire hope. So in these moments, after the Flying Graysons fall, Bruce, not Batman, gives the kid who's just lost everything the same hope that he wishes he could have given to that 8-year-old boy in the alley all those years ago, and maybe even give the kid the same Christmas that that 8-year-old boy has been wishing for since. Now that we're all a tad heartbroken, I think it's a good time to rock back to Dark Victory and how they make it work, given that Scarlett Johansson is in the movie. Spoilers ahead for the Penguin show and the Dark Victory comic. You've been warned. As I said before, the villain of Dark Victory is the Hangman. If you've seen the Penguin, you know that Sophia is already the Hangman in this universe, or allegedly the Hangman. So with the report of Scarlett Johansson being cast for the Batman Part 2, I think they should take from Dark Victory and meld it with the following ideas. First, we have the latest rumor, and that's that Scarlett Johansson is playing Gilda Gold, also known as Gilda Dent, the wife of Harvey Dent. First off, I want to say, and credit to Nando V Movies, who anyone watching this video would and probably will know, for first bringing this comparison up, or at least the first person I've seen to bring this comparison up. But if you take from Long Halloween again, and you make the villain Holiday or Gilda Gold, and you rewrite her in such a way to give that emotional and deep-rooted connection with Bruce that we've heard about leading up to this film, you're kind of just doing evil Rachel Dawes. That's not to say I'd be against Matt Reeves rewriting or tweaking certain elements of characters to fit his vision. Quite the opposite. I am more than in favor of that happening, and we've seen it work with the Riddler in Part 1. In this instance of the love interest with a deep-rooted past and connection to Bruce Wayne that's also in love with Harvey Dent, just feels a bit too similar to what we've seen before with The Dark Knight. And I don't think making her Holiday really does that much to counteract that, if that makes sense. Now, we'll get into Harvey and the whole Two-Face story soon, but according to this report, or rumor, or whatever it is, next on the theory/rumor mill is an adaptation of one of, and in a lot of people's eyes, the best Batman movie of all time. That, of course, being Mask of the Phantasm. Now, if you've not seen Batman Mask of the Phantasm, it's a spin-off of Batman the Animated Series, and it is also your Benji Yap's homework to watch Mask of the Phantasm over this holiday season. Mask of the Phantasm is about Bruce reconnecting with an old flame called Andrea Beaumont. Bruce struggles with his vow to be Gotham's protector and Gotham's symbol, and he wants to live a happy life with Andrea, even proposing, but Andrea chooses to leave Gotham. She leaves with her business tycoon father and ends the relationship. All the while, a new and murderous vigilante shows up on the scene called the Phantasm, dressed to resemble the Grim Reaper, only somehow more menacing. Phantasm targets and takes out Gotham's crime lords and elites, and as it turns out, Andrea and the Phantasm are one and the same. Her killings have been the same elites and crime lords that have been targeting her father, Carl Beaumont, for embezzling money from them. This version of events will obviously be altered and tweaked to be more in line with the Batman Part 1. What I'd like to see is we take from Dark Victory, but our serial killer is the Phantasm. We keep her going after the crime bosses and the elites, and maybe the elites have a bit of an owl thing going on, just spitballing here, and she goes after those who've just generally wronged her or her family. Now, I can already hear some keyboards clacking.
This is also retreading over the Batman Part 1. Also, you should kill yourself.
I do hear where you're coming from, and if it were up to me, I'd focus solely on elites. I wouldn't have a crime lord, so to speak. Maybe that's how she meets Bruce, as he tries to come out of his shell and help the city as Bruce Wayne, as well as Batman, like said in Part 1.
Mr. Wayne, you know, you really could be doing more for this city. Your family has a history of philanthropy, but as far as I can tell, you're not doing anything.
Show this Bruce that he can in fact be happy, and maybe this makes him question being the Batman, ultimately sacrificing the happy retired life with Andrea because of his moral obligation and duty to Gotham, similar to how Mask of the Phantasm did originally. And now with Robin in the mix, he's also choosing the family he has over the chance at the idealistic perfect family he's seen with Andrea, because he's not going to abandon the boy that watched his parents fall. Just like how if he was there, he wouldn't have abandoned that boy in the alley that night. All of this rolled into one big Christmassy crime drama thriller that pulls on your heartstrings, given the familial importance we put on Christmas and the emotional crux of Bruce's character being almost like the line from the end of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
This is my gift. My curse. Who am I? I'm Spider-Man.
Sounds amazing to me. Pun very much intended. Next on my fanficky theory wish list rumor thing, and one I'm more inclined to believe and also want to see more, being completely honest with you, and that's for Scarlett Johansson to play Vicky Vale. Not just Vicky Vale like we've seen in the Burton films or the Arkham games. Vicky Vale from the Batman Telltale game, also known as Lady Arkham. Now, Arkham has been a recurring theme across this universe, from the sins of the father we mentioned before, about Thomas Wayne covering up his wife Martha's connection to Arkham Hospital, as well as her originally being part of the elite Gotham family, the Arkhams, before eventually marrying into the Waynes. In the Penguin show, we get our first look at this universe's Arkham through Sofia Gigante, whether it be her flashbacks to her time there or when she's put back into her at the end of the show. I feel as though Vicky Vale, at least traditionally, being a love interest to Bruce or Batman, with ScarJo's role being a romantic villainous role, and with Bruce's mother being an Arkham, that they won't make Vicky Vale an Arkham in this universe, quite like they did in the game. At least I really hope not. So instead, what I could see them doing is a version of Vicky Vale that takes from another classic love interest, and that's Silver St. Cloud, Bruce's first one that got away, so to speak. She's a part of Gotham's high life and is among all the rich and powerful of Gotham, which I guess we kind of alluded to doing in the previous entry, but this is where we diverge from that. Where this version of Vicky Vale and Silver St. Cloud differ is that, as she is in the source material, Vicky Vale is a reporter, just like her father. Edward Elliot was the reporter who Falcone silenced on behalf of Thomas Wayne, which Riddler exposes in the first film. You could reveal her real name to be Victoria Elliot, and Vicky Vale is just a stage name, or maybe it's a foster name like it was in the game. Just something of that nature. This, to me, makes the most sense. It pays off the Hush Easter egg tease in part 1, at least in namesake with her being an Elliot, and it would not have been done before on film, like Matt Reeves said in the build-up. You can have her look like Lady Arkham, as she did in the game. Maybe she wears a gender-swapped version of the classic Hush getup. We lean more in that direction with some elements of Lady Arkham from the game. Or maybe she still goes by Phantasm and wears that really badass Phantasm suit in this version too. And in this hypothetical story, she could also be going for elites, particularly Bruce Wayne, as a sort of generational revenge for her father. This would also set itself up as a beautiful parallel to Batman and Bruce's arc from the first film, learning to be more than just vengeance, and him now having to teach that to Dick Grayson, his adopted son, that vengeance isn't the way to get past his trauma, just like it isn't for Victoria, and that Dick will go on to do good despite his trauma and what he's been through. Another rumor we've heard a lot about recently is that the other villain of the film is Dr. Arkham. I have a lot less to say about this one because there's a lot less out there about it, but I do have one theory. In this movie, we're going to be introduced to Jeremiah Arkham, the administrator of Arkham Asylum, and the last Arkham in this Gotham. Maybe Jeremiah is helping Lady Arkham to go after Bruce Wayne. And with Bruce being a descendant of the Arkhams in this universe, you can have a totally unique and original dynamic between Bruce and Dr. Arkham. Jeremiah is traditionally the nephew of Amadeus Arkham, the founder of Arkham Asylum. But they could do some really cool spins on this, given Martha Wayne is an Arkham in this universe. Maybe Bruce is the grandson of Amadeus Arkham, and Jeremiah is the one that set up the tragedy that incited Martha Wayne being taken to Arkham Asylum. Or you can have Bruce and Jeremiah be not as closely related, but with Thomas Wayne covering up Martha being in Arkham, Jeremiah can see this as a disrespect or a besmirching of the Arkham name. You can have Jeremiah hold that grudge against Bruce Wayne. I think a really cool way to do this would be to take from the character Dr. Hurt from Grant Morrison's run in 2008, but doubling down on the hinted at relation between Dr. Hurt and Bruce Wayne in that book. Only now they are related through Bruce's Arkham side. Dr. Hurt also has ties to a secret society called the Black Glove. He is the leader of in that comic run. So you could introduce that or have him be connected to this universe's Court of Owls, which has been strongly hinted at throughout the entirety of this universe. After the events of The Batman, Gotham is in need of a new district attorney, and anyone who has seen any Batman thing ever instantly thinks of one person, Harvey Dent. I'd like a movie with Harvey just as Harvey before we see Two-Face. Bruce watching this pillar of hope for Gotham, an honest and genuine symbol for justice, and a chance in Bruce's eyes for a Gotham that doesn't need a Batman. Seeing that fall from grace and Gotham corrupt that would break Bruce, would hit us harder as viewers with that longer build-up and seeing the connection between Bruce and Harvey. But I understand completely not wanting to wait however long until we get The Batman Part 3 for that payoff. And with this movie being so focused on Bruce opposed to Batman, I do see a world where we get that story in this film. Now, I'm not normally a big fan cast guy. There's some that I have my opinions on, and sure, I have parameters I'd like to see met for specific characters. If you'd like to see me talk about fancast, maybe give my opinions on some of the more popular ones, do let me know. That sounds quite fun. There's one fancast I've seen, and it's Damson Idris playing the Two-Face for this universe. If you've seen Snowfall, you know he can play both reserved, confident, and authoritative, as well as angry and manic, and I feel like he would kill it as Two-Face. I just wanted to put that out there. Now, onto my last wish or theory or whatever we're calling these for this video. And this last one would mean so much more to me than I can put into words. And I feel like this might be the case for a lot of Batman fans. I'd like to see Batman become the Knight in Part 2. What I mean by that is, in The Batman Part 1, Batman is vengeance. He says so himself.
I'm vengeance.
He's called so by those around him. So I would really love to see, probably more so than anything else on this list, is an homage and a tribute to the most influential and iconic portrayal of Batman, one that has transcended generations from the animated series to the Arkham games to so much more, and that's of course Kevin Conroy. One of Kevin Conroy's most memorable lines throughout his career as Batman is from the animated series, and he says it again at the end of Arkham Knight. During the Scarecrow episode, while infected by Scarecrow's toxin, hanging onto a blimp for dear life, seeing visions of his father, Bruce powers through and says,
"You are not my father. I am not a disgrace. I am vengeance. I am the Knight. I am Batman!"
And at the end of Batman Arkham Knight, when all hope is lost and it seems like the Joker is finally going to take over, as Bruce succumbs to Scarecrow's fear toxin and the mystery behind the Batman is taken away, Batman triumphs over Joker in his mind by saying,
"I am vengeance. I am the Knight. I am Batman."
So to honor this real-life hero that brought this character to life for as long and as perfectly as Kevin Conroy had, I think it would be really cool to have Bruce say that he is the Knight in this film, and then finally in the third complete the quote, finally saying that he is Batman. Not only have we been waiting for an I'm Batman from Robert Pattinson, but given this context and also the build-up of this moment, similar to in the MCU, how it took so long to finally hear Cap say Avengers assemble in that amazing moment in Endgame. Only this is the Batman version. All of this while commemorating the late great Kevin Conroy. Rest in peace to the hero behind the superhero.
When I read a Batman comic, he's the voice I hear in my head.
It's hard to hear any other voice than that voice.
Man, this is like the best voice I've ever heard. It's just so natural.
I think that's probably a good place to call it. So do let me know any theories or ideas you have for the Batman Part 2. Let me know what you think of this video. If you enjoyed this video, dropping a like would mean the world to me. YouTube cliches aside, it genuinely does make a massive difference, so thank you. Whatever direction they take the Batman Part 2 in, I have full faith in Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson, Mattson Tomlin, Eric Messerschmidt, Scarlett Johansson, everyone who's going to be involved. They are going to kill it, and I can't be more excited. And with all that being said, don't forget to subscribe. 99.9999999999999999999% of you aren't subscribed. It would really help me out. I like the number go up. Thank you. Happy holidays to you all. Merry Christmas to those of you who are celebrating. I hope you and your families have a lovely Christmas. As always, I want to shout out my Discord community. You all have pushed me and given me the confidence to do this content stuff, whether that be here on YouTube or over on Twitch alike. If you like these videos or just want a place to hang out and meet some pretty cool people, or as always, if you just want to post memes about my dumbass, you're more than welcome to join, and we'd love to have you there. Thank you so much for watching this video. Merry Christmas, and I hope I can catch you in the next one.